So we are giving you the option to pop the question in the um, message box on Google Meets, or you can send a message on the WhatsApp group. Remember, there's no such thing as a stupid question. What somebody else might be shy to ask, you ask, that person learns, you learn, and even we learn all the time as facilitators, as teachers, and so on and so forth. All right. If you do want to ask a question, you use the icon with the hand up, and Leanne will inform me that you have a question, and I will stop. I will pause. And yeah, sit back, enjoy the program, and let's get this ECD playbook mastered. Right. So we're starting on slide number 15, Leanne.
Yes, it's 15.
All right. So slide 15 is all about making activities intentional. And they give us a cute little formula there where they say the goal, which is the skill that you're trying to teach the child. The game is how you're going to go about teaching that child. And that two together equals real teaching. So you can't simply just go and do activities with children and not think about the early learning development areas, the elders, and how that can be included in the game that you're going to play, in the lesson that you're going to do with them, whether it's inside or indoors or outdoors. Activities need to have planning, and it needs to be intentional. So, for example, here they're giving us the example of Animals Week. In there, under language elders, you can put that the children is learning the names and the sounds that animals makes. For creativity, you can say that you are going to be painting animal masks made out of paper plates, for example. All right. Remember always that you cannot present a lesson and not have an intention, a aim, a goal behind your lesson. There always has to be an intention behind your lesson. And the bottom rule we have there in black, if you can't explain why you're doing the activity, scrap the activity. We don't have time for tardiness. All right. We don't want to waste the kids' time. We don't want to waste our own time. All right. We go to the next slide now, slide 16. And here we speak about good planning versus bad planning. The slide is direct and important. Bad planning is making up games right before the class starts. Good planning is preparing the activities in advance. So you have all the bean bags, or you have all the hula hoops, or all the tins, or you have enough crayons, so on and so forth. Planning is not only on paper. Planning goes further than that. It goes into the resources that you need to have at hand when you are going to be presenting the activity to the children and when the children are participating in the lesson. There has to be enough. You can't have 4 crayons when you have 30 children in your class and expect everybody to sit patiently and wait for their turn. It just doesn't work like that. A golden rule in the ECD world is a child's attention span is equal in minutes to his age. What does that mean? That means that if a child is 5 years old, you can hold his attention for 5 minutes maximum. He's going to be bored. He's going to think about something else. He's going to look in another direction. Same thing goes for a 2 year old. So, the activities in your planning of your activities, you need to understand that it needs to be age appropriate. Very, very important. If you are busy taking notes, make a note of good planning means that it needs to be age appropriate. You cannot go and give a 100-piece puzzle to a 2 year old child to play with. It's just never going to happen. That 2 year old child is probably going to eat the puzzle, and then everybody's going to be upset, and it's just going to be a crazy day. All right. So on the screen, you can see the difference between bad planning and good planning. Good planning, we plan a full weekly theme in advance. Bad planning, you make it up right before the class starts. Bad planning again. What are we gonna do next? And then you just make things up. Look, sometimes we have to be spontaneous because accidents happen. We understand all of those things. That is why you will find that good teachers, good facilitators, good educators always have backup plans as well. So maybe you were planning to do a water activity, and here all of a sudden they decided they're going to load shed with water. You can't do water that day. You need to make sure that you have a plan B. That plan B, if it doesn't come into play, you can put it in your next thing. You can put it in your next month's planning in something suitable, whatever the case may be. Planning is very, very important. Lastly, on the slide, they're telling us that trying to control the room by shouting, "Everybody keep quiet! Sit down!" No, we don't do that. It's not a madhouse, it's an ECD center. We use simple routines and three to five clear class rules to guide behavior. All right. So you can use things like a bell that you ring and everybody freezes. That's the rule. From day one, they know when they come in the class. That's the rule. Everybody freezes, nobody talks. You look at the teacher, you pay attention to the instruction that the teacher is giving. Other people decide no, they don't like a bell, they want to use a whistle. They do that. Other people have a special beeping sound or computer sound. You can use whatever you need to use, but part of good planning is that you have to have control of the room. And you cannot have that with a teacher that is busy shouting, going off her head. All right. If there are any questions so far, please pop them in the box. Leanne will check and get back to us. All right.
Let me just
So,
interrupt you, Sophia, for a second. Hello, everyone.
okay.
I think that there's a good balance that must be reached between having full control of the class and also allowing children to develop and be natural. And that's a very fine balance, right? So if you feel that full control of your class is nobody moves, nobody talks, and I've walked into classes like that where everybody's afraid, that is not control of your class. That's showing that you're afraid to teach, right? So
Uh-huh.
work a lot in terms of allowing children, like what is acceptable amounts of noise? What is an acceptable amount of movement that you can expect? And work towards that as a goal instead of showing that you have control. Be able to move. It's like moving a river, you know, be able to
Okay.
move with the river instead of trying to stop the river from acting. All right.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that, Nick, and welcome to the class.
Ah, thank you. I just thought I would pop in. You're doing such a lovely job. I'm happy to be here. Please proceed.
Okay. All right, so that was Nick, our CEO, our brains behind everything. Thank you for popping in, Nick. Leanne, you can proceed to the next slide. Okay, so as you can see, what we have here now is called the planning funnel, the teacher's planning funnel. How to plan without losing your mind. Remember, just now I said it's not a madhouse, it's an ECD center, right? So you will see they give you 3 steps there. Step 1 is brain dump. Step 2 is highlight the must do todays. Step 3 is save the rest. Okay, so let's elaborate a little bit on that. This gives us a method basically and a formula and a structure to stay by. When we say brain dump, we mean I write down all the ideas, all the themes, all the activities, all the songs. I think Leanne actually has a drive for this songs, materials, and possible learning moments that could happen. Right? You as a teacher also need to become technologically advanced. I learned recently, my lord, especially those of us that are over 40, you need to become technologically advanced and you need to resource up to date information because the games that we were playing in the olden days and what they are exposed to, used to, and technologically advanced in today's time differs quite a bit. So if you want to hold their attention, you need to come with fresh ideas that includes the way that life is today. All right. So brain dumping then basically is just putting everything down on a big chart. And then you decide, okay, um, I'm going to use this idea for this theme, this idea for that theme, this activity goes well with this song goes well with the other thing, right? And then we come to the second part where they say, what is important to do today? Remember, there has to be intention. So the must do todays are the intentional, specific outcomes that you want to achieve, learning outcomes, the early learning um, development outcomes, the elders that we spoke about. Okay. Now, lastly, they say save the rest. If you see the class is bored, they are tired, they don't want to speak about dinosaurs now. They've been speaking about it since Monday, it's Thursday, they're bored already. Save the rest for later on. Give them a break. Everybody stand up, shake your hands about a little bit, sing a song, whatever the case may be. Do not brain dump on the children because you're so excited that you came up with so many ideas and you just dishing it out left, right, and center. It must be appropriate to their age and to their attention span. All right. Any questions? Don't forget to drop it in the box. We go on to the next slide now, and this is about inclusion. So basically, Leanne, can you change for us? Thanks. So basically, what we're saying here is one size fits all teaching never works, and no child should be isolated. What we need to do is we need to adjust the environment. So here we are specifically passionate, Erudite is specifically passionate about children with special needs, children with learning disabilities, and so on and so forth. So when we speak about inclusion, we're speaking about access for children that perhaps use um, wheelchairs or crutches. We're talking about children that use hearing aids, children that have bad visual perception. We allow them to sit closer, and so on and so forth. Also, we have 4 short points, visual schedules. That is the pictures that we use instead of written words, because at ECD level they don't do that. So we use symbols and we use pictures. Then the next one is short instructions. Break big rules down into simple 3-word sentences. All right. So can I give you an example of that? We're gonna say, as normal people, hey, listen, Leanne, I need you to cut up that paper, paste it on the blue paper. After that, I need you to go and put it in your maths book. And when you're done with that, I need you to come back here because I want to send you to teacher. You cannot do that in an ECD sentence. You can only use a basic sentence that consists of 3 words. Leanne, I want you to cut this paper. Cut this paper. Finished. When she's done with that, you said, right, now I'd like you to take Prit, put Prit on there and stick it in your maths book. Then Leanne is going to lift up her hand and she's going to say, teacher, I'm done. And you're going to go and say, okay, now I want you to color the one side blue and the one side pink, whatever the case may be. So that is what we mean when we speak about short instructions. All right. And then we speak about movement breaks. We say allow kids with high energy to move their bodies between quiet tasks. I just made an example of that earlier when I said, you see they're tired, ask everybody to stand up, let them stand on their tippy toes, and let them make stars with by flicking their hands open and close, and by doing movements with their bodies. Touch your knees, touch your toes, put your hands up, down, sideways, da da dee, da da da. The last one they have there is the quiet corner. So that you can see is like a cozy little space where the child is feeling overwhelmed, or he's just having a bad day, or he just don't have lists for nothing and nobody. It's fine. We all have those moments, right? So usually the quiet corner would be a reading corner, as you can see on the setup that we have there. And there would be pillows and comfortable seating for the child to sit down and to just play with a book or look through things or read picture books or whatever the case may be, even have a conversation with their friend. That social interaction is good for them. All right, we go now to the next slide.
Christine, your hand is up. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, sorry if you don't mind. Just like to ask, so the child is having a bad day, you direct them to the quiet corner, and that's how do you separate and ensure that that child is having the time out, if you will, compared to the other children in the class, making sure um, this child's not getting special treatments, if you will.
Okay, so the easy answer is at a minimum of about 2 weeks, you get to know the temperament of the children in the classroom. So when I would direct a child to the safe corner, the quiet corner, the reading corner, whatever the case may be, is I know that child is usually jumpy, talkative, all over the show, and today they're just not in the mood. Some principals have good relationships with the parents, and they will mention to the principal, we had a death in the family, or his kitten just died or something like that. So the principal will inform you. You will be sensitive towards that, and in that way, you try to comfort him by asking him if he would like to sit in the reading corner, take a time out, or whatever the case may be. And if you don't want to make it look like it's especially just for him, special treatment, you could take them in groups to the reading corner, and you have different groups at different times on the different stations, if that makes sense.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Awesome, you're welcome.
I just want to add to the pictures quickly, Sophia. In today's world, we can't have a Pinterest perfect classroom. So we can't have a quiet corner, reading corner, maybe an activity corner. Our classes, it's too small for it. We've got big classes with maximum 40 kids in a class. Most of the time, all of the tables and chairs are taking up the spaces. So in this case, I'll recommend or I'll suggest as well that you can take the child and make that child's table or the space where he sits and eat and play and color, make that his quiet corner. Give him his coloring book and his coloring pencils and ask him to color a picture. That way you don't give him special treatment because he's sitting at the table and the rest of the kids is busy in front. So that is also a way of helping.
That's
Absolutely.
great. Thank you.
I love that answer. Awesome stuff, Leanne. Okay, Christine, we hope you and the others understand what we mean with the quiet corner. All right, we go on to our next slide now, which is managing behaviors without shouting. And I'm going to speak now here and feel so guilty about it because I'm one of those teachers that can become very shouty. So don't feel bad. We all get pushed to our limits sometime or the other. Most of the time I'm calm, quiet, look at everything as part of life and humorous. But there comes a time where you're really having a bad day, or things are just out of control for whatever reason. It's load shedding and that you can't see properly in the class, and your class is really at an angle that is dark, and the kids are just taking advantage of it, whatever the case is. So what we're saying here is you need to understand with managing the class, without becoming hyper, without shouting, without losing your cool. The one way to avoid that from happening again is your routine and your planning has to be tight. It has to be on point and it has to be precise. 2 weeks to a month, and that children in your class at the beginning of the year up until we're going to give you maybe the first week in January. They need to know what the routine is. They need to know what the schedule is. If you're changing that routine and that schedule up every single other day or whatever the case may be, you're going to have a problem, right? So we come back to saying that we need to keep rules tiny. You don't give long essays of instructions. You give short instructions at the time and you allow children to complete it. You tell them there's no rush. Take your time. I want you to put as much effort into it to make it as beautiful as you can, and you will see that they actually do that. The next thing we speak about is positive reinforcement, and that is basically praising the child on his effort, not how beautiful it is, specifically because you don't want to be lying. Sometimes they draw hojas, you know, but you can say positive stuff like, I see you really tried very hard, all right, or I see you've put a lot of effort into this. I love that you think that the sky looks pink, because sometimes it does when the sun is rising or setting, who knows, you know what I'm saying. So basically what we're saying is, do not criticize children and do not give negative comments on any work that they are doing. Try to find ways that you can give positive reinforcement. All right. So, another example of positive reinforcement is, instead of saying the negative, don't hit each other, you say the positive. I would like it if you guys play together nicely. So you leave the negative words out and you use positive words. Instead of saying, don't mess up the toys, we're going to say, I would like all the toys to be put into the play box when we are done. Because remember, with a child, he listens to the words literally. So he's going to act on the words that you are saying and defy you. That's how it seems to us, like they are defying us, but they listen to the words literally and their brain just does what is being said. So always try to come from a loving place, always try to come from a positive place. And then
Allow me
our
to
last,
interrupt at this point
okay,
again.
Nick.
Sorry. All right. There is a psychology behind this, and I want you to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Your brain cannot understand negative instruction because it's a positive fulfillment mechanism. For example, if I have to say to everyone, don't think about pink elephants,
We're going to
right?
think about
Everybody's thinking about pink elephants, right? Why? Because your brain cannot process don't. Your brain needs to confirm something. So your brain always looks for the verb and the adverb, or verb
the
adjective.
verb
Sorry.
and the the verb
Verb
and the
adjective? I think so. The doing word and what the result is. So
okay.
so when you say, for example, don't hit, they're looking for the verb, which is hit.
Hit.
So the brain's fixated on the word hit, right?
Uh-huh.
If you say don't do this, that doesn't matter. So rather replace it with be quiet or settle or move this way so that the brain can positively reinforce that section of the word and it knows what to do. Because as soon as you use the word don't, you're expecting the brain to do two steps.
Mm.
One is identify the verb, and the second is to act outside of its normal functioning, which is to then
Awesome.
reverse the instruction, which you don't develop until much later in age. And some men never develop it to start with. So bear that in mind. All right. Proceed.
I think you actually taught me this concept, Nick. Yeah. I never used to think about it like that before. So thanks for jumping in. All right. If anybody has questions or if you want to jump in also, please feel free.
I've got
We are not on a dictative institution, or pop your questions in the message box. We go now to our next slide.
a question.
Yes.
So I want to ask Amelia. Amelia, if you can just unmute yourself. So I want to know, in your classroom, how do you reinforce a positive, let's say, for example, the classroom or the class is loud, the kids is running around. How do you get them to calm down and sit?
Sophia, what I normally do is, what do you call it? I keep them all busy. And when some of them are loud or noisy or naughty or anything like that, I create something for them all to pull their attention to one thing and not to that naughtiness or something.
Okay, do you use any songs maybe that you can share with us? If you've got like songs that you sing to get their attention.
I do days of the week. I love Jack Hartman stuff. Then when it's cleanup time, we all sing together. Clean up, clean up, it's cleanup time, things like that. Or what we normally do as well as have competitions. It's,
I
see
like.
who is finished first
Nice.
or who does it the best or something like that. Because most of my kids are special needs kids.
Okay, very interesting. I think we lost Leanne there.
Sorry, I
Okay,
got kicked out. I don't know why.
okay. Uh, can you put the slide back on, Leanne? Okay, Leanne seems to be having some technical problems. We're gonna carry on. Okay, there we go. Next slide, please.
Okay, just give me a second quickly. Just to add
Alright.
on to singing and the noise. What we usually did in the class is we would start, and then if they get noisy, we will sing, or I will tell them catch a bubble, and then they will go catch a bubble, put it in your mouth, pop it, poop, and then they would be quiet. So that also works. That's just the example that I would like to share as well.
Wow, awesome. If anybody else has ideas for us, please raise your hand, share it with us. We appreciate everybody's input. Yes, Amelia?
What we normally do as well, especially when they're outside and they're busy, then what we'll do is let's do exercises. Come, all of us is gonna
Mm.
jump, touch the sky, touch the ground, show me where's your head, things like that. That also works not only outside but inside as well.
Awesome, awesome, lovely stuff. Thanks for that. I think at this point, I'm going to ask everybody to think of ideas that we want to be presented um, in the next few weeks, because we're nearing the end of the semester. Think of ideas that you want, and please post it on here, post it on the WhatsApp groups as well. And Leanne will um, be our research fundi and put stuff together for us that all of us can benefit from. All right. Our second last slide is called the full picture, and it explains to us basically how all of this ECD playbook comes together. Right. So first is the plan, which consists of the 6 elders and weekly themes, and that is what gives you purpose in your classroom, right? A good ECD classroom needs these 3 gears to work together. There must be the plan, the routine, and the teacher. The plan gives purpose, the routine gives security. If you remember earlier recordings, we always emphasize on the fact that children cannot tell time. They do not know that at 10 o'clock we have lunch. What they know is that um, when I am done in the puzzle corner and teacher blows the whistle, then we usually go for lunch. So the routine has to be consistent. And like Leanne mentioned earlier on, um, Most classroom setups in South Africa is such that you have 40 children at a time in a class, and it can become chaotic. What we then advise is to break them up into groups of 10, and each group will start at a different routine, but we will go clockwise in that routine, and they will know that, okay, the blue group is starting today in the reading corner. After the reading corner, they go to the block corner. After the block corner, they go there, they go there. There must be some sort of structure. All right. And so we say the plan gives purpose, the routine gives security, and the teacher brings the care, the structure, and the response from the children. If one gear breaks, the classroom is going to struggle. It's going to struggle. The same thing with a car, right? A good plan with no routine becomes chaos. You can have the best plan, but if you don't have a routine, then your plan is doomed to failure. Now, remember, when we speak about routine in the ECD setting, we are not saying that you must have a monotonous, boring thing every day, the whole day. You can spice it up, you can make it pretty, you can make it nice, but it needs to always be predictable for the child. So, for example, you're deciding that you're going to change the classroom around because the setup that you had wasn't a good setup after you experienced a week in the classroom with the children. You do that and you stay like that the entire term. So the children know where they're going, what they're doing. As much as you're itching, you keep that structure going the entire term, you make it work. You inform them at the end of the term, teachers are going to be bringing redecorating, upscaling upgrading our classroom, this one, that one, bring pot plants and whatever the case may be. So they come into the new environment anticipating the change and they're excited about it. Whereas you can find that if you do not do that and you do not prepare children for change, they become overwhelmed by it and you feel disappointed because you put so much effort into it and everything is just chaotic. All right. So changing around of the classrooms, the golden rule there is it happens once a term. Keep it like that. Otherwise, they get confused. The same with routines. Okay, the children go and they play in the block corner, whatever the case may be. They're getting bored with the blocks. Change the blocks around. It's fine. Or paint all the blocks red because the theme that week includes the color red or whatever the case may be. You can spice it up. You can put variations into it, but do not change the routine and the structure of the class so much that the children become overwhelmed with it, that they cannot predict what is going to happen next because the teacher is Safia and she's just a nutcase. All right. We need to have a routine and we need to have structure. We need to have elders and all of that in place. All right. Lastly, on this point, we just want to say a good plan with no routine becomes chaos. A routine with no plan becomes boring. And a teacher with no reflection keeps repeating the same mistakes. So you have to take notes of yourself and how children responded to the activities. If it didn't work this year or this term, please scrap it out. It's a bad idea. Try to upgrade it or to make it better and then try it again next year or next term. All right. And don't be boring. Don't be a boring teacher, please. All right. The full picture is this. Children thrive when the classroom is planned, predictable, safe, flexible, and caring. All right, so just to reiterate, children thrive when the classroom is planned, predictable, safe, but flexible and caring. ECD is not a random play, it is planned growth disguised as play. It is planned growth disguised as play. A good plan needs a routine needs a prepared teacher, and when all three of these gears lock together, children thrive and teachers feel less stressed. In the beginning, it feels overwhelming for you as a teacher to get these gears going, to get the routines, to get the structures and the layouts, but it will pay off eventually after a week or two when they are in the groove of things, and they naturally just gravitate to the next thing. On that thing about moving to the next activity, we spoke about blowing the whistle or singing a song or something like that. I went to a advanced school with la-di-da people, and they actually play music over the intercom. It was a Montessori school. They play music over the intercom, slow, quiet, peaceful music like of waterfalls or birds tweeting or whatever, right? Fish swimming in the ocean. A very soothing song, like if you go to the spa, that type of a vibe. And the children then become alerted that they need to pack up at station B because it's now time to proceed to station C. So that's also something that you can do in the back of your mind. Maybe get a Bluetooth speaker and do it with your phone to make life easy. If you still live in the olden days and you have a CD player, take your CD player there and put it to good use. Know what I'm saying? Just make sure that the music is age appropriate. We don't want the children to be going home and singing weird stuff. All right. We are now on to our final slide.
Just hold on quickly. We've got Christine saying a good
Okay.
saying that I learned that I would like to share and support you with on the planning is just sorry. Another one came through. Is perfect preparation prevents poor performance. Well done, Christine. That is actually well said. I like that. And then Amelia also said that we play music while eating and resting. Amelia,
I
that is
love
a good
that.
thing
I love that.
because
Wow.
they also learn language from listening to the music. And then
Awesome.
we've we've got a question from Queen. Let me just go up quickly.
Okay.
I
Are
don't
you
know
still?
why it doesn't allow me to go back. Okay, never mind. There it goes. So
Okay.
Queen is asking, is it necessary or a must that we need to change the classroom termly, or does it depend on what the lesson plan is for the next term? Is it going to be? So
Okay.
I'll quickly answer that one. So it's not necessary to change the class every term. So it depends on the grade or the age group that you are teaching. So usually with the little ones from, you can basically say the baby class up until grade R. No, I'll say grade R. You don't need to change the class termly. Grade R depends on the curriculum because sometimes they learn advanced phonics. So by the second term, you need to have phonics on the wall. But from baby class up until grade R, you can have pictures of the phonics. But when you are teaching them the actual phonics, you need to have the phonics on the wall so they can read it in the morning when they come in. So it all depends on your class and your age. The lesson planning and the art against the wall, it's slightly two different things because your lesson plan is something that you need to focus on for a set week or maybe 2 weeks. Let's take, for example, the animals. So it's animal week. So this week we are only focusing on animals. So you have a theme table with different animals. With if it's a bigger class from, I'll say, about 3 to 6 years, you can make small word cards to say it's a dog, it's a donkey, it's a lion. So they can start. They won't really be able to read it, but they will recognize the letters by grade R. I saw this over 3 years in the 3 classes that I've been. So in grade R, they'll be able to spell lion because it's a four-letter word. So it's quite easy for them to adjust and recognize. So with the themes, it's set to be a theme table where the kids can interact, play with the animals, touch the animals. That's why we say with numeracy, we will have sorting activities. So put all of the wild animals together, put all of the farm animals together. Let's see all of the big animals. Let's group all of the big animals, like your, let's say, for example, an elephant and a giraffe and maybe a donkey. Or let's do all of the animals with no legs. That would be your snakes, your, I'm trying to think of another one, but you understand where it's coming from. So your themes, it's different than your set wall. We call it art, your wall art. So your wall art needs to be your schedule for the day. It needs to be by the schedule. I don't mean just put up pictures and leave it there. Let the kids use the pictures. Give them an arrow and tell them, we arrived now, we are having breakfast. Toto, get up, go change the arrow to breakfast. Later on, you will say, Karabo, go and change the arrow from breakfast to circle time. So you give them time to interact as well, and they feel that they've got a need, or they are respected in the class as well, because now they've got an activity that they can do that's not just the normal school stuff. Today they'll go home and they'll tell their mom, I moved the arrow from breakfast to circle time. That's also language development. So with themes, it's important to use all of your knowledge together to make it not just learning about animals, but developing language, numeracy, literacy, that's basically language, but literacy, life skills, creativity. For example, an activity, just a random one that popped into my mind now, is for creativity. Let them take the animals and dip the feet of the animals in paint and then on a paper. Not all of the animals, the feet is shaped the same size or the same pattern. Even if you think, but the toy, it's got like every toy in front of me's got the same feet. Actually do it and you will see the size is different, that the shape is different. So that also helps them to learn a bit and expand their life skills. I hope that answers your question. And then Kathy also said with regarding how to get a class to calm down and sit down in a positive way. What I do is I use a carpet or cushion and give each child a spot and arrange it in a circle so everyone can feel included. It makes them interact with each other. So it makes them interact with each other. Well done, Kathy, on that. Some classes doesn't have the funding for carpets. So we did it in a previous class, and one of the students actually suggested that you take normal A4 paper. So you can give them normal A4 paper as well, where they can sit on the paper, and then you don't need to buy carpets or cushions or fancy chairs. You can just use a piece of paper, a hula hoop, if you've got the space for it, a hula hoop. So there's so many things that you can use. As a teacher, we need to adapt to our environment. Some of us, I think, some of us work at schools that doesn't always have the funding to buy nitty-gritty stuff. So we need to improvise. It's adapt or die. So we need, as a teacher, especially as an ECD teacher, we need to find ways to get everything done with minimum resources.
100%. I agree with that. Beautifully said, Leanne. Thank you. Yeah. So I think that was a lot of information. Please make notes of everything that Leanne said, or come back to the recording. I think it would be very, very helpful for all of us as educators. Also, I'd like to add on the question about changing the classroom around every term and so on and so forth. Again, it's not necessary, but if you want to keep the children intrigued, you're going to keep on changing different elements in the classroom to catch their attention. Like I said, a simple thing like changing the blocks to the theme that you're busy with, that color, or changing the sports equipment and wrapping it all in a different shade. You just need to be creative, and I swear to you, in in the world of technology that we live today, all you need to do is go onto the internet. I don't know, is it AI, Chat GPT, Google, you name it. Ideas are just overpouring. Pinterest and lots of sites give you access to free material as well. All right. And if you come from a school where resources are minimal, which most of us are dealing with, then you need to get the parents and the relatives of the kids in the class involved in reduce, reuse, recycle. So they empty cold drink bottles, they empty baked bean tins, they empty this, they empty ice cream tins, Rama, Blikkies, whatever you name it. You ask them, you make a list, you ask them to put it on their fridge, and whenever any of those things get used, it goes into a box, and at the end of the week, it goes to school. And teacher uses the Rama tins, she sprays it or she paints it, and she uses that for crayons. And the bottles, they use it for spare water because the water gets load shedded so much. The tins, we use it to put the paint brushes in, or whatever the case may be. You need to be creative. You need to come up with solutions. You cannot sit back as an ECD educator, especially, and say, "But I don't know." You got to get to know. There cannot be an excuse that I don't know or I don't have. All right, we go now to our final slide. There's 5 minutes left. And this is now reflection on everything that has been said in session 1 2 weeks ago and session 2. The final step is reflection. So, what we're saying in this message is that good teachers reflect. They do not just repeat the same plan every week and hope for magic. At the end of each week, ask yourself as a teacher, what worked well this week? Highlight it. If you're too tired to write it down again, just highlight it. Or if you're using computers, there's also a thing there that you can use to highlight it. All right. What worked this week? You highlight that in yellow. What didn't work, you highlight that in red because that already shows you must stop. Don't do that. All right. Ask yourself stuff like what activities flopped? What activities was a hit with the children? All right. Did we meet all the learning goals? Did we meet all the specific outcomes? Have we achieved the elders that has been set out by the curriculum for this time of the term? Where are we? All right. Reflection turns back basic teaching into better teaching. And also look at the responses that you get from the children, right? Taking 10 minutes to review your week is what turns a basic teacher into a master educator and keeps you building. To close, I'm going to say the biggest message from this playbook is that the ECD teaching must be intentional. We must know why we're doing what we do in every activity. What skill are we developing according to the elders, and how is the child growing through the skill? Okay. A strong ECD teacher does not only ask, what activity are we doing today? A strong teacher takes a step back and says, what is this activity building within the child or the children? What is my aim? What is my goal? When we plan properly, we follow a routine, we include every child, we manage behaviors calmly, and we reflect. Reflect. It's very, very important. And remember, we are real teachers. Even though we are teaching babies in their early years, we are real teachers. We are not babysitters. That is how we build strong minds, one block at a time, one class at a time, one teacher at a time, one school at a time, one province at a time, one nation at a time. And I thank you. Back to you, Leanne.
Thank you, Amelia and Kathy and Christine, for all of your messages in the chat box. That was very nice to read. And then we call it a night. Thank you for everyone that's joining us. Please look out for the link for last week's class as well. So the ones that wasn't here last week can just catch up with it. And then I must just say good evening, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Good night.
Thank you, guys. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Christine.
Okay. Bye.
Amelia, if you can hear me, just send me a WhatsApp. I'm not sure. I think you've got my number, but just send me a WhatsApp, then I can quickly share all of that with you.